Of my voice, I am self-isolating in the hollowed-out volcano that Bill Gates uses to plot the destruction of the world. Coming up this week, how to get your day off to a great start, why we either are or are not ruining this planet, but if we are, where we should live next, and how not to raise your children. But coming up first, a man I call annoying climate change person. Manchester, Youssef.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, sir.
So I was calling in, basically, I know your last caller mentioned global warming and Britain's commitment to it, and that was a subject that I was liking to touch on.
Yes.
So basically, I just wonder, as someone in my sort of very early 30s, I came up in an era where the sort of general consensus and what we were taught in school was that basically the world was going to be over by the time I reached the age that I'm currently at.
What?
And that has not yet come to fruition.
It hasn't? Well,
it hasn't.
What a huge disappointment for you.
Well, I mean, it happens to be a great blessing, but...
Now, wait a minute, back up. You were told it was going to come to an end in what manner? How? By what method?
Well, I was told that large portions of the world would be underwater by now.
Well, they are. It's called the sea.
Quite right. I think they were referring to portions of the world that weren't currently underwater at the time.
Oh, well, they should have said that.
Well, they did. This is the thing they did. They said that portions of the world that weren't currently underwater were going to be flooded within my lifetime, and that hasn't happened.
Well, ask those people who are standing on their tiptoes in the Maldives what they think about that.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. How long should they stand on their tiptoes for?
As long as they wish to breathe air.
But
if they stick around for 1,000,000 years, maybe they'll grow gills.
But this is the problem, will they still be standing on their tiptoes in 1,000,000 years? And at what point do we, the general public, who are not scientists, and Nick, I don't know your full background, but I'm assuming you're not a scientist, is that correct?
Trust me, I know nothing.
Right, and this is the thing, we generally, the general public, Joe Public, we are not scientists, but when we're told these catastrophic warnings about global warming that don't come into fruition, at what point do we go, not so sure about that?
Yeah, but you're talking about something that you learned at school 15, 20 years ago, and 20 years ago is the blink of an eye in universal time. So just to hang around for another couple of decades, Youssef, and it may happen.
It may happen, it may not, and if it does not, then what then?
Let me put it like this: if you close your eyes and walk across the road, you may get hit by a car, and you may not.
Well,
does that mean that you should not open your eyes? You should not take precautions?
No, we should open our eyes and take precautions, but it happens to be a very known that cars may hit us if we cross the road. I just wonder, how much do we actually know about our impact on the climate? How much? Here's
what I hear. Here's what we know. 99.99999% of scientists who have expressed a preference on this issue say that there is climate warming and climate change, rather, and that we do have something to do with it. Here's what I also know. We will do nothing about it at all until it's too late, because that's the human condition.
So, Nick, I mean, can I ask you, where did you get that 99.99% statistic from? Because I've heard...
Are you kidding? I got it off the internet.
What do I know about it? All I know is what's on the internet.
Like everybody else.
Because I've heard that particular statistic in itself is not actually accurate.
Well, I just made it up, but almost all, 99-point-something%. But wait a minute, you heard that it wasn't accurate. Where did you hear it?
I've heard it from a variety of sources, but
where? Where did you hear a variety of what? Of some bloke who's just hanging around the bus shelter on the internet. Well, that's the that's a version of somebody who was hanging around a bus shelter.
But we're both debating over versions of different people hanging around bus shelters here, Nick, aren't we?
No, I'm telling you that scientists who have great knowledge of this are telling us one thing, and people who don't want to change their lives are dismissing it because scientists once got something wrong. That's
Nick,
where we're at.
in your younger years, you must have heard people catastrophizing about the plight of the world and saying certain things were going to happen by the time you reached a certain age that haven't happened yet. And they haven't happened yet.
But that's not really opening your eyes, Yusuf. They are happening. They're happening all over the world. It's just that it's not happening at this moment where you live in Manchester. That's what you mean, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I've not just lived in Manchester. I've lived in, I've lived in other places in the world where.
Well, where have you lived?
I've lived in Southeast Asia,
yes.
and there have been.
Well, is it hot in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, but it's always hot.
There you are. Proof. Global warming. Witnessed.
But here's the thing for you, Nick. Let me put it to you in a different way, because this is what worries me about so-called scientific consensus. If you ask many scientists nowadays, they might agree that gender, for example, is not necessarily set by the chromosomes, something which was accepted up until very recently. I mean,
well, I'm not sure scientists would say that. I think social scientists may say that. Scientists wouldn't say that at all, I don't think.
No, I think you'll find that a lot of scientists nowadays
I'm not sure. Social commentators might say that, but I don't think it's
not just social commentators.
All right,
it's academics.
Well, okay, if you say so. Academics can be social scientists.
They could be social scientists. They could also be biologists too. This is something that's infecting all aspects of academia, as I feel the global warming thing is as well.
Yeah, I don't think the two are connected or alike in any way.
I think they're connected in the sense that...
No, they're not. They're not connected.
There's a consensus on things that are yet to be proven.
There's a consensus on things that are yet to be proven. I'll go back to my initial assertion, Yusuf. You don't believe it because it's not happening to you where you live right now.
No, do you know what? I want to say I believe it or not. My particular view on global warming might be a bit more nuanced than that. I would say that I don't disbelieve it, but I would say that there have been exaggerated claims which have not occurred in my life.
Okay, well, let me put your belief in a nutshell. You don't want to accept that it's true because you don't want to change your lifestyle.
Whether or not I change my lifestyle,
you won't.
It is not going to be as consequential as whether or not other people change their lifestyle in tandem with me.
Well, of course, but that's like saying I have no power. So we, as individuals, we have no power. So let's nobody do anything. We can all just drop our rubbish in the street because one bit of rubbish isn't going to make any difference. But if 50 million people do it, we're going to be living up to our eyeballs in detritus.
Let's look at it from a slightly different perspective. Okay, let's say that global warming were completely disconnected from human activity. Right?
Go
on. Now, I'm not saying accept this or not, but if that were the case, we would have to adapt to it anyway. We would have to perhaps move to higher ground. We would have to create certain technologies to adapt to it.
We would have to move to higher ground. Do you know what you're saying? We'd have to move London to higher ground. You know, every city on Earth, practically, every major city grew where it sits because of water. Because it was either by the coast or it was by a river. That's how cities start. And if the water rises a significant amount, a couple of meters, I mean, people are talking about much, much more than that if the ice sheets melt. But if it just goes up a couple of meters, London will be unlivable. Where are we going to move it to? Wales?
Is it not the case that Amsterdam, for example, or Jakarta might be another example, would have been underwater many, many years ago were it not for human intervention, and that they were actually quite ingenuitive in actually adapting to changing environments and actually preserving the cities that we do have.
Right. Are you kidding now?
No, this is true. I mean,
London has got a dam at the mouth of the Thames as it comes into the city, and apparently it's not big enough already. So we would just be continually fighting the waves to push them back out again, or we could do something about it now to prevent it from going up in the first place.
Well, I mean, in realistically speaking, the UK contributes 1% of carbon emissions.
Again, so we can't do anything because we as individuals won't solve the problem immediately. So let's forget it.
Well, no, but it's not about forget it. It's about let's take a rational, sensible approach.
There is no rational, sensible if our immediate future is to be bobbing around on the ocean wave. If your sofa's floating down a road, then all sense and rationality goes out the window along with your furniture.
If we genuinely believe that to be the case, I mean, it sounds like we both agree that there's very little that the citizens of the United Kingdom can do about it.
No, we do not agree on anything of the sort. Citizens as individuals have little power, but the beautiful thing about the internet is that we can all come to an agreement and act as one. It's just that we haven't done that yet. All we've done on the internet in the manner of acting as one is to press a like button next to a puppy dog video. And that's about as far as we've got so far. But, early days. Here, Yusuf, I would like to put some facts into a soft cotton sack and beat you around the head with it. Bloomsbury, Sophia?
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
I'm glad of that. The best way to avoid spending trillions on nuclear deterrent is to read my novel on Amazon, Nuclear Man.
I'm absolutely not going to do that.
Oh, you should, but it has a second entry.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I refuse to do it. I won't.
It's a lot of punctuation.
You can't make me.
All right. Anyway, my dog, Frisk, is doing well.
Frisk?
Yes.
Frisk the dog?
Yeah, and the washing machine, Cristiano, is fine.
That sounds like a bizarre activity at the airport.
But I'm not naming any trees.
You're going to frisk the dog? What for?
Right. I'm not naming any trees. I wouldn't get to name trees. Mind you,
why would anybody do that? You'd have to be crazy to do that.
I totally agree with you there. Mm-hmm. Mind you, my avocado plants are doing well. But the best thing is to forget all these worries and sing happy songs at the Christmas party.
Yeah, go ahead. Sing us a happy song.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Amore, this one is.
Yeah, go ahead. Sing us a happy... Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you walk on the...
Oh, no, we've run out of time on that call. Gosh, I hate it when that happens. Ron takes, before prawn cocktail crisps came smoky bacon. That's my favourite part of a cow. Adam in Brighton says, salt and shake crisps. Oh, that's what they call them, isn't it? Salt and shake. You do the salt and shake and put the freshness back. Richie in Sutton says, there's enough thickos voting. How about the only people allowed to vote are those who pass a test for intelligence and kindness? Well, I forget how many times I've said that. Over and over and over again I've expressed that opinion. But I'll go one louder. And I've said this loads as well. You shouldn't only have to pass a test to vote. You should have to pass a test before procreating. Absolutely. For the benefit of the nation, for the benefit of this planet. Because, I mean, there's too many of us. Ask David Attenborough about it. Get him on the phone right now. There's too many of us. And it's growing exponentially all the time because people just can't keep their hands to themselves.
Disgusting.
And there's just too many of us. And that's going to get much, much worse relatively quickly. I mean, we've barely got enough food to go around as it is. I mean, what with the vast appetites that we have in the West, hoarding all of that good stuff for ourselves, while the rest of the world does absolutely zero for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And that's just going to get much, much worse because we don't want to change our lifestyles. We don't want to stop changing our phones every year and our cars every 6 months and having an ever bigger TV and all of the stuff that goes with that, digging the precious metals out of the ground and so on and so forth. And we want to water our lawns when the rains don't come and on and on. And at, what are we now, 6 billion? It's going to be 10 billion pretty soon. And then what will we do? I think we're living at the best time. Again, I'm repeating myself. We're living at the best time in history, indisputably, because we've got the communications revolution. We've got a computer in our pockets that's as large as the one that put the man on the moon. Amazing. And we've got a few advancements in medical technology, many of which are not available on the NHS because it costs too much. But if you've got the money, honey, then you can afford them. And, there's just plenty else besides. We've got the Sopranos as a box set. I mean, what more could you want? And in the future, there's going to be too many people. We'll all be squeezed together, fighting over whatever, assets are still available, whatever resources we can lay our hands on. There's going to be wars about water, I betcha. And so that's in the future. And, maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, we'll all be dead by then. That's looking on the bright side. 0345 6060 973. Hang on, I'm going to cough. I may be dead by the end of the show. Operation Mockingbird tweets, nobody should be forced to vote. That's incorrect. You should be forced to vote. Absolutely. The political parties, however, should be forced to provide something worth voting for. Think on, says that person. I will not think on. I'm not here to think. Does it sound to you like I'm thinking?
No.
James texts, Marmite makes a good deterrent for unwanted advances in the pub. You just smear some over your chops. Yeah, you could smear some over your mouth as well. That just makes good sense. Coming up, ham and living on other planets. Southampton. Hello, Simon.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Wafer thin ham.
Yeah. My favourite.
But do these companies take us for mugs? Because if I was going to go out and spend good, hard-earned money on food,
yeah,
I don't really want to be fobbed off with something that's wafer thin. I want to get some food in my belly.
Right, you want a big wedge of meat.
Yeah. Wafer thin ham is nothing to be proud of.
No, I think it
is.
And
the other thing...
I think it's a great step forward in human technology. Food technology, absolutely. Wafer thin, it melts on the tongue.
But they take us for fools. It means we've got to buy more of it.
Yes, that's right. Well, you buy the same amount, it's just cut up thinner, that's all.
Well, let me put this one to you. Do you like chocolate?
Of course.
Right. So
let me be more specific. I don't like that cheap chocolate substitute that you buy in newsagents. That's rubbish. I like real chocolate.
Yeah. But I'm talking about just, the stuff that you've just mentioned.
Right. Well, then the answer is no.
Well, the stuff that you just mentioned that ends...
Well, don't mind about ending. We know what we're talking about. Go on.
Right. The particular chocolate bar in question is named after a George...
See, he just can't help himself, can he? You fail this test. Yeah. No, the answer's no. Whatever it is you're just asking. Unless it's yes. Or it might be...
No. Yes.
James says, didn't you go to university in the 80s? Surely you remember Snakebite, lager and blackcurrant, the original fruit beer. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, Snakebite. No, it wasn't Snakebite, lager and cider and blackcurrant. I worked in a pub and we refused to serve it to people because the feeling was it made people violent. I think it's because it doesn't taste like alcohol. People would drink a lot of it. I'm sure there's no reason why cider and beer as a mixture should make people violent. I mean, alcohol makes people violent, but not specific types. I always thought whiskey had a reputation of making people violent, but I've been drinking bourbon. I mean, I know bourbon's not like scotch, but bourbon, I can drink bourbon and almost not hit anybody. I'll have a blazing row with myself, though. This says, I drank Snakebite at uni, it's amazing. What, like science fiction? It's amazing. Jan in Lincolnshire says, they have sausages in batter on sticks in Australia. They're called Dogwood Dogs. That sounds absolutely awful. Like most things that come from Australia. No offence. Let's have a call in Crouch End. Hello, Paul.
Hi. It's Snakebite and Black was the drink at Wolves Polly.
But isn't Black Guinness?
To drink. No, it was Snakebite and Black. It was the lager and cider with
blackcurrant, right.
And that made it tasty.
Yes. Well, it made it seem like it wasn't alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an alcohol pop before its time.
But I'm right about that, and it does have a reputation of making people go off.
Absolutely. But the point is that we can have more people on the planet, not less.
What? Where are we going to put them?
There's plenty of space for people.
Space? Where? Points to where is space.
Everywhere. There's more than enough space. The more people we have, the more wealth we create, and the more we can go to another planet.
Oh, right. Because
easily.
Yes.
Easily.
We'll use up this planet like a tissue and then throw it away.
What?
Well, like a disease. We've spread over this planet, and once we've killed it, then we'll go and do the same to another planet.
Not at all. We expanded in Europe, and then we went to America. We can do the same with another planet. No problem. Very negative. Very negative to say that
no problem. Yeah, it'd be no problem colonising another planet. What is the issue there? Apart from not being able to breathe.
We can create wealth and go to another planet very easily.
Wealth. See, that's the problem.
It doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well.
What doesn't?
It doesn't sit well.
If the truth doesn't sit well with you, Paul, then that's an issue you're going to have to take up with yourself. It's not my problem.
Okay. I'm just saying that
the pursuit of wealth is the problem. It's not the salvation. It's not going to solve anything.
Having more children isn't a problem.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Selfish people who have more than like two children. I mean, you see in the newspapers, I'm having me 12th kid. I love it. It's just you're addicted to having children. The pain of having children is in itself addictive, I'm sure, to some people, some weird beards.
No, I think we can procreate as much as we want, and we can expand, and that would just be a good thing for all of us.
Right. So you've thought about this in depth, have you? You've done the research.
Well,
no.
I don't think we need to be stopping people having children.
We should be stopping some people from having children. That is indisputable.
I don't think we can say who can have children.
Well, I think that we can. I just leave it to me. I'll be the decider.
How are we going to decide then?
Well, based on looks. No, not necessarily whether somebody is good looking, but I'll just make an instant decision based on your your entire being, your attitude. And if I don't like your attitude, then you're out.
Well, that does sound mean. That does sound nasty.
Well, I'm just that's nature. That is. David Attenborough will explain that to you. Nature is nasty. I'm just trying to help humankind. You've got to break eggs to make an omelette.
I think you'd be very relaxed about healthy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Well, being as I am the decider.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think David Attenborough would be very relaxed about the whole thing, and he'd be.
No, David Attenborough is not relaxed about it. He's clenched of the fist and red of face about it. He's furious with you specifically.
I think. Okay. Fair enough. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, see, now you're glad you called, right? Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. There you are, I'm just being helpful. Am I being helpful yet?
No.
No, not really. Coming up, how to prepare yourself for the hard day ahead.
Think about it, Nick. Listen, now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
0345 6060 Nolby. Sylvia.
Oh, hello, Nick. What I first would like to say is you're on about children.
On about?
And what I would like to say is how anyone can produce children if they are on benefits and what have you.
Yeah, where would they find the time? What with all that important TV to watch?
Eh?
Go on.
Relying on food banks, Nick.
Yeah.
You know yourself, if you are working, if you're married and you're working, how hard it is to provide and feed for children. But I've been watching The Jungle, Nick, and all them have lost weight. And why do you think they've lost weight?
Raging diarrhea?
Beans and rice. I know you might say, who'd want a diet like that?
Yeah, who'd want a diet like that? Yeah.
They get a good package, Nick, for going
Excuse me? What?
They get a good package, money, for going in.
Money!
I think that is
that
one
kind
of the main
package,
purposes
right.
why they go in.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Nick, it's what you put in your mouth is to how you turn out. Now, I went to the doctor's once, and he said to me...
Get out of my surgery. No?
He said, I'm overweight.
Yes.
So what do you think I did?
You changed your doctor? No?
Yes. And what do you think I did, Nick? When he went to weigh
Had a
me,
second
he said,
opinion.
you've lost a stone. He said, you've lost a stone.
Right.
And so you know what that is? Sugar.
Yeah, sugar. Bread is probably another one that you want to give up.
Yes, I cut that out, and it's chips. But excuse me, but what I'm just saying is, it just goes to show you, Nick, it's true, and same with children. You know, I brought four. It's true.
You've got
You see,
four. Four, did you say?
Eh?
Did you say you've got 4 children?
Yes,
Four?
they've all grown up, but what...
4? That's too many.
Yes, but what do you think? My husband grafted and provided for them. We didn't rely on benefits, food banks.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Having a child is absolutely... Having a child is one of the most destructive things you can do to the planet.
No, having a child?
Yes.
No, not if you can provide for them.
That's not true.
True.
Because
True,
your child will go and have another child, and that child will have another child, and suddenly we've got 5 million people that all look like you, Sylvia.
I don't give 2 hoots. Oh.
Yeah.
Good night.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sylvia. And that's it. If you subscribe to this podcast, the next episode will get